The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. The F&M Schaefer Brewing Company raises a tall, cold glass of Schaefer beer in your honor, and Lucky Strike's blowing smoke rings at you from the Comfortably Zoned Radio Studios, and it's time once again for Dodgers baseball. A tale of two cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. I'm your host, Peter Trunk, and my co-host is Ron Rabinovitz. Ron, how you doing out there?
Good, Peter. How are you, buddy?
Okay, it's good. It's good. I miss baseball already, but you know.
I do too. It's
yeah,
about 99 days left.
I'm going into the shakes already.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a week.
Go into withdrawal. That's right.
Yeah, really. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited because tonight we have one of our special guests, Super Dodger lover and fan, Bernie Rose. Bernie, how are you?
Very well, guys. Very well.
Hi, Bernie. How you doing, buddy?
Good to be back with you.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah. Another few days, and it sinks in a little bit. But you know, I wasn't really too upset. You know, it was a good season. And
it was a good season.
Very good season.
I just wished he would have handled the pitching staff differently. I think the whole thing could have turned out completely different. But you guys did a whole show on that, so I'm not going to go there.
Well, you know something? In baseball, it always bears repeating anyway. Baseball, as we all know, is a very, very funny game. And,
yes, it is.
That's the way it turned out. If it turned out the opposite way, guys in Houston, in the greater Houston area, on their blogs and their podcasts and stuff, would be saying the same thing. You know, if A.J. Hinch did this, if he didn't use and that's baseball.
It was a good series. It's just a shame. Did anybody ever hear anything before we get into what we're going to do tonight? I mean, there had to be something wrong with Turner. I mean, was his back hurt? Or?
They tried to sell, the apologists did, they tried to sell the fact that, remember the ground ball that he missed completely and it hit him on the inside of his left knee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. They're trying to sell that that's where he was injured and that's what bothered him all during the World Series. Now, I don't know. He's a world-class athlete. A ground ball that hits him on the inside.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is going to do that? I don't know.
I think he was hurt.
Maybe it did. You know why? Because if I'm not mistaken, a short while ago, like a year or a year and a half ago, didn't he have an operation on one of his knees?
Yes.
I believe he did.
That might have been the knee.
Could have been.
Could have been. That could have been.
That might have been the knee.
He looked a little out of it. He was hurt. But
Ball might have just hit him in the wrong spot, you know?
Yeah.
Seager had a terrible series. Seager had a terrible series.
All of them, really.
Bellinger and Puig, all four of those guys had a terrible series.
Yeah, it killed him.
Yeah.
And even though Taylor had a few key hits, he didn't have such a great series either. The whole
he was better than the other four.
And yet,
he was better than the other four.
Oh, well, some of the other guys were unbelievable. I wish Andre would have gotten more at-bats, but...
You have those guys, you have all those guys not hitting, and it wasn't one or two, it was like five guys weren't hitting.
There were four at least.
The best pitcher in baseball couldn't hold a 4-0 lead, couldn't hold a 7-4 lead. So, and it still went 7 games?
Yeah. And what it came down to was 1 for 13 in Game 7 with runners in scoring position. The one thing over the last decade that was killing us all so many times, and it came back to rear its ugly head in Game 7.
That's right. And I think
that's what got me. What's that, Ron?
Seager was definitely hurt, I think.
Yeah, he looked hurt too. Yeah,
Culbertson should have played. He was better.
Maybe so, because he was great against Chicago.
He sure was.
But
sure was.
I would love to jump on the boat with you guys and sail around and talk about this, but I can't.
We got a show to
baseball. No. My baseball brain will not allow me to get on board because after playing 162 games and then 3 rounds of playoffs, you don't think Houston's guys were hurting? You don't think those 8 starting players were aching and hurting and beat up and banged up? Same thing.
I don't know.
Somehow, some way, they seem to be more.
They seem more pep.
I don't know.
More anxious. They were more hungry. I think. I don't know. It's too bad.
That being said, at times it did look that way, but there were just so many moves. I can't believe that Roberts and Honeycutt. The only point I want to belabor again, I guess now would be, how could they not know if the whole rest of the baseball world watching knew he was tipping his pitches, Darvish?
Yeah.
How come they didn't know?
I don't know. I'm surprised. And
that we didn't even find out till the next day. But right in that game, before we even knew that, I'm going after that first inning. He can't come out for the second inning. And all right, you bring him out for the second inning. After he walked the leadoff guy, I'm going, that's it. You have to take him out now. And he just refused to do it. And that was it right there. Although they had their opportunities.
You should have started Kershaw in Game 7.
Yes, he should have.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Again, I refuse to join in with this. Although, no, really, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be belligerent or argumentative or anything like that. This is baseball. I've been watching it now.
It is
for many, many, many years. Many years, and stuff like this happens all the time in baseball.
Sure.
You know what? I'll go along with you there. I didn't mean to interrupt, but Darvish, I figure in L.A. is going to do better than he did in Houston, and until he came out for that second inning, you know what? If you were going to bring Kershaw in the fourth or the fifth after that first inning, Kershaw should have been on the mound in the second. I'll go along with starting Darvish. But by that point, after that first inning and what he did in Game 3, he would not have been on that mound if I was the
exactly. That's right.
I would have brought Kershaw in right there. Because you had Wood. You also had Wood. And even Hill, who didn't pitch all that much in his start.
Who
you had plenty of guys to bring in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know why they refused to do it. And then I'll go back to the point of if all these other guys knew that Darvish was tipping his pitches, what was Honeycutt doing? Was he sleeping in there?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
I don't get it.
I don't get that either. Another thing I'm not sure about is on Game 6, we won 6-1. Why the hell did they bring in Jansen? There was no reason at that point.
No, there wasn't. There was absolutely no reason. He overworked everybody.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But who knows?
Well, we were texting back and forth.
Yes, we were.
I don't know if Ronnie is aware that I was also not only texting back and forth with him, but I was texting back and forth with Bernie.
Right.
And I don't know if Bernie was
no, I wasn't aware
that I was texting. Okay, I was texting to both of you as fast as I could, so that's why some of my answers or some of my replies came back a little bit late because I was texting the other guy. But I remember texting, I think it was to Ronnie. Yeah. I remember texting, why Jansen here?
Yeah, exactly.
In game number 6, when Jansen was on the mound for the 9th inning, I said, why Jansen here?
Why did they need him there? That's right. With a
I didn't get that. But you know something? We're beating a dead horse. It's over. Right. That was a show ago and this and that. Yeah. I want to relay a story that I thought was really, when this happened to me this past Saturday, I said, I got to remember this and use it on the show. I have 2 daughters. I have a son and 2 daughters. One of my daughter's sons had a birthday party at my daughter's house. And she lives about little less than an hour away from me. And I drove over there and celebrated his birthday. And at the birthday party, there was another old guy like me, somewhere on the other side of the family, her husband's side of the family. And lo and behold, he's an ex-Brooklynite, ex-Brooklyn guy. I said, holy cow, really? So, we're talking. He was like he was like Ronnie. I think he was 1 year older than I am. Okay. 72 or so. To make a long story short, we start talking about the Dodgers and Ebbets Field and blah, 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 blah. It was really, really cool. We got into such a discussion that my daughter pushed us both out the sliding doors off the kitchen onto the deck and said, go on out there and talk your Dodger bullshit out there. Well, we're trying to have a birthday party here. So we went out there, and we were talking, and this guy was telling all kinds of stories, and I was telling him stories and blah, blah, blah. He told me a story that I said to him, I'm going to use this on my radio show. And I think it's really a funny story. This guy claims, he said to me, well, he told me things, of course, that I already knew, that the Dodgers pervaded every part of living in Brooklyn back then. The Dodgers were always the hottest topic of conversation. Whenever people got together, even women and, his aunts and his grandmother and his mother and his sisters, they all talked Brooklyn Dodgers. It was just the thing to do back then when he was a kid. And he remembers a story. He said the Dodgers had a publicist that was related by marriage to his family, a guy by the name of Harry Markson, Markson, and he was a publicist for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And Markson was having a conversation with his rabbi. He had met his rabbi to have a conversation about his life and everything like that. And he goes in there and he's having a conversation with his rabbi. And this is in the summer of 1948. And the Arabs were advancing on the newly independent country of Israel. Yeah. And I'm sure by our history books, if we weren't aware of it back then at age 11 or 12, we're aware of it by reading now. But anyway, the Arabs were advancing on the newly independent country of Israel, and things were looking bleak. Okay? So Markson asks, he goes, Rabbi, have you heard the latest reports on the radio? Yes, replied his rabbi. The Dodgers lost again. I thought that was just priceless. I said, when do I tell Ronnie and Bernie this story? And here's the guy thinking that, it's the end of Israel before it even begins, and woe is us, and our whole religion is down the shit chute, and everybody's going to die, and even though Hitler's gone, this is horrible, horrible. And the rabbi goes, yeah, the Dodgers lost again. That's how Brooklyn was. That's how Brooklyn was.
That's how Brooklyn was. You're right.
It was. And, Brooklyn was the only city who had like 2.5 million people. They didn't have an airport. They didn't have a newspaper after the Brooklyn Eagle went under in 1953. They didn't have a ball club after that fat son of a bitch left for L.A. And the heart had gone out of Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
The soul had fled. Now it's a place to live. That's all. It's a place to hang your hat. It's a place where people sleep.
Yeah.
You don't hear Brooklyn stories anymore. You don't hear Brooklyn jokes anymore. Brooklyn lives only, in my opinion, in loving memory alongside Jackie, Gil, Campy, Big Nuke, Clem, Oisk, Scoon, Pee-wee.
Well, because it was Brooklyn. I mean, they would
dodging
the trolley. It was Brooklyn, and it was all Brooklyn. You got teams. You got a hockey team, a basketball team playing in Brooklyn now, but they're not called Brooklyn, right? They're called New York.
Well, I tell you what, the Nets are called Brooklyn, but
they are.
I don't see hotbeds of people hanging on street corners talking about
Nets basketball.
No, that's not happening.
No.
But back then, whoever men wore that wedding white uniform with the Pantone 294 blue lettering on the front that spelled out Dodgers. Those were the guys that the whole borough was talking about all the time. They talked about them all the time.
They lived amongst the people. It was amazing. It was just unbelievable.
Yes, they did.
Sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
They did.
Yeah.
Yep, the Reeses and the Snyders and the Erskines and the Rube Walkers, they all lived on the same block in Bay Ridge.
That's it.
You know, all the wives shopped in the same stores.
Sure.
You know, their kids went to school with the rest of the kids. Altogether different than now.
It was like the entire city of Brooklyn was family.
It was,
including the Dodgers. I mean,
it was. And, you know, a great story. One of our other guests brought it up. I was aware of this story, but I think it was Bill Hall who brought up the story. And it's true because I have it on tape. You can go to YouTube and look it up. I can't remember the exact game, but one of the Brooklyn Dodger games, Vince Scully actually says, if anyone out there listening to this game knows the Pignatano family, call their house because Joe's coming in. He's putting on the catcher's gear in the dugout, and he's going to make his major league debut at the end of this half inning. Now imagine telling a city, it wasn't even a city, but I'll just for the hell of it, I'll call it a city. Imagine telling a city of 2.5 million people over the radio, if you know the Pignatanos, call them.
Yes.
Joe's coming into the game.
That's something. I remember.
That's how Brooklyn was. That's how Brooklyn was. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that son of a bitch robbed us all. Stole it from us.
I do remember the shock, when they moved and how the whole city just freaked out.
It did.
It was terrible.
I'm just a couple of years younger than you guys, like 4 or 5 years or whatever. But, I was 7 when they moved, but I remember the shock.
I was 11.
Yeah, there you go.
It was 12.
So I guess I nailed it, 4 and 5 years. Yeah. But I remember, and it was just unbelievable.
Bernie, I've told this to more than a few people, but I know I told this to Ronnie more than 5 times, and I told it to Robert Cole more than 5 times, and I might have even told Linda Wilson a couple of times, or maybe 3 times, but I'll say it one more time. I, as an 11-year-old, never believed they were moving, because every time I said to my father, Dad, I read in the paper the Dodgers are moving, he would say, they're not moving. That's just O'Malley. That's just O'Malley trying to get more money, trying to get a new stadium. The Dodgers can't move out of Brooklyn. He made me believe that. I said,
right.
Holy cow, Dad's right. I used to say to my friends, my father's right. The Dodgers can't move out of Brooklyn. How could they move out of Brooklyn? They're the Dodgers.
A lot of people
we didn't
thought
believe
the
it.
same thing. Yeah, sure.
We did not believe it until I saw in the newspaper, I saw a picture of spring training, and the guy had an L.A. on his hat instead of a B. I said, holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap, they're moving.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when you're 11 years old, when you're 11 years old and it's 1958, and you don't have the internet, you don't have ESPN and cable TV.
Right.
No.
So the Dodgers would be playing the Giants, and you would get the newspaper. Your father would bring the newspaper in. And I would take the sports section, and it would just say SF at LA and
or late, yeah.
Right.
So it was
they didn't have the box scores.
Now the New York papers, when Brooklyn would go, when the Brooklyn Dodgers were still the Brooklyn Dodgers, but they went and they played in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And it was a night game in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
My father would get the Bulldog edition, and at the top of the page, they'd have Dodgers lead Cards 4-1 in the 6th. That would be the headline.
Yeah.
They'd actually have a half of a story. A half of a score and a half of a story in the newspaper. Then when they moved to LA, all I saw was SF at LAN.
Yeah.
Meaning night game.
That's right.
I would have to wait till the next day. To learn that they won 3-2. And now I know their record is like 8-8 or whatever. But my uncle would say, I heard on the radio they lost the next game to the Giants. So now they're 8-9. Now I'm looking at the standings, and they have the Dodgers are 8-8. But my Uncle Joe just told me they lost 3-2 the night before. So they're really 8-9. So I couldn't even keep up with the. I couldn't even keep up with the National League standings. It sucked. It really sucked. It really and truly did.
I couldn't wait for the NBC Saturday game.
Let me just make one comment here. We lost a great pitcher today, Ray Halladay.
Oh, yeah.
Airplane crash.
Roy Halladay, yeah.
Roy Halladay, yeah. So
believe it or not, guys, I have his uniform jersey.
Really?
No kidding.
A friend of mine who I used to play in a band with back in high school became a Phillies fan in 1964 when they blew the pennant under Gene Mock, when they had that 6-game lead with 12 to go and they lost. Cardinals beat them. So he started rooting for the Phillies, and he's always been a Philly fan. So before he moved to North Carolina, he had tickets to the Phillies, and we used to drive from here. He lived in Milltown. I lived in East Brunswick. Before he moved, we used to drive to Philly and see Philly games. So I have a couple of Phillies caps, and I have a Mike Schmidt uniform jersey and a Roy Halladay uniform jersey, and I used to wear that to the games down there. It was total shock when I heard that he had died. The initial, I'm sure it was a shock to both of you too. The initial report was that his plane was missing. And of course everyone was hoping maybe it wasn't Halladay on the plane. Maybe, God forbid, someone else died, but still, Holladay's only 40 years old. And then of course the news came out that he was in fact on the plane and perished. What a horrible, horrible story. Just a terrible, terrible story.
Family. Yeah, terrible.
Oh, really?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's change the subject. Try to get back a little bit to the Dodgers. Let's move out to LA. Let's bring in Bernie Rose. Bernie is going to give us I'll let him tell you what he's going to do. Bernie's going to do a little something for the show, and I'll let him explain it. Go ahead, Bernie. Bernie Rose.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Peter. All right, well, Andre Ethier, the 12-year run with the Dodgers has come to an end. They declined the option on his last deal, and they gave him a $2.5 million buyout instead of paying him $17.5 for next year. And he was one of my favorite players over the last decade or so.
Mine too.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually didn't do even more than he did, but he had a nice run here with the Dodgers, and so I'm sorry to see him go. So we're going to go over just a couple of things with him. I wonder if you guys actually know who they traded to get Andre from Oakland. You recall?
I know that, and I have forgotten.
He's an outfielder. He was a crazy outfielder.
That is correct.
Yeah,
and that should tell you that it's Milton Bradley.
Milton Bradley. That's who it was. That's right. I knew he was a crazy outfielder. I didn't remember his name right off the bat.
Yeah, and you were right. And along with Antonio Perez, and that was back in 2005.
Yeah.
And basically, he didn't really become a starter until he beat out Juan Pierre for the left field job in 2008. What do you think of that?
Isn't that something?
I remember that.
Yeah.
He was a great player for many, many years. Unfortunately, the last 2 years he was injured for the whole year practically. So that was a shame.
Yeah, that hurt. I mean, he had a nice career at 285, 1,367 hits, 162 homers, 687 RBIs. But that's not really, the whole story. But he had a nice little run. It's really a shame the way the whole thing with Manny ended, with Manny Ramirez.
Right.
But if he was doing the steroids that, the second time they caught him, that was pretty much it for Dodger Blue.
Yeah.
But when he was hitting in front of Manny, it was like Turner until the World Series. They couldn't get him out those 3 years because they didn't want to pitch to Manny. And then they had Kemp behind Manny. That was a nice little thing. It's amazing that they never got to the World Series then.
Yeah, right.
Which was so great about this year, because he did some things. I mean, in 2009, that was the big year. 31 homers, 106 RBIs, won the Silver Slugger, 6th in the MVP voting. He had 6 walk-off hits.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And 4 walk-off runs, which was the most since anyone in the league since 1974.
How old is he?
Hard to believe, really. But
how old is he, Bernie?
He's 35.
35, that's what I thought. I met him a couple times. I met his wife. Yeah, wonderful guy. Just wonderful. Just a great guy.
My wife loves him because she says he's so good looking. But
my wife too. That's right.
There you go. Well, it must be true then.
Honey, your heartthrob has been released from the doctor. How can they do that to him? She says.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And in 2008, when he got the starting job, and then he moved to right when they got Manny at the trading deadline, he played 141 games, 90 runs, 160 hits, 305 average. I mean, he had some nice years.
He did.
And remember 2010 when he started off like a house on fire. He was leading the NL in home runs, RBIs, and average, and then he broke his finger.
Right.
And he still ended up hitting 292 with 23 homers and 82 RBIs, but he missed a lot of games, and he was voted to start in the All-Star game. He had
Bernie, what was his highest home run year?
31.
Wow.
That was the year he won the Silver Slugger. Over 100 RBIs and 31 homers.
Wow. He was an excellent fielder, too.
He won the Gold Glove one year in 2011. Yes.
Excellent fielder.
2-time All-Star.
Yeah. Great guy.
And then, unfortunately, a little later on, when they got Puig and they still had Kemp, it sort of made Andre, because when Puig started that year, he was hitting like crazy.
Yeah.
And it sort of put Andre on the bench. Yeah. And, but he came back the following year, won the starting job, played almost every day in 2015. The last real year he played without getting hurt. And he hit 294, so.
No slot. It was good.
He was a nice player.
Bernie, what happened to him last year? What happened to him last year? I remember, didn't he have something happen at spring training and he got injured? He was out almost the whole year?
Absolutely. A fractured right tibia in spring training in 2016. Fouling the ball off.
And then this year he broke his leg, right?
Yeah, it broke his leg, and it was a lot more severe than anticipated or expected. Yeah. And he didn't come back till September 10th.
Right.
And then the same thing happened. He got a back injury this year in spring training, a herniated disc. And he didn't come back till the 1st of September, which was really shocking. So in 2 years, at least he did make the postseason roster both years, but because of what happened, he only had like 58 at-bats in 2 years during the regular season.
Isn't that terrible? That's so sad. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it wasn't his doing. It was just a broken finger, a broken leg, in spring training.
Herniated discs. I mean, unfortunately, but I just wanted to, point out that he was the longest tenured Dodger these past, a little over a decade, and he'll be missed. I enjoyed watching him.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. I agree with you. I really liked him a lot.
You think he'll land on his feet, Bernie? Where's he going to go?
I have no idea. He'll get a contract, don't you think?
Yeah.
He could be a DH in the American League.
Maybe.
He certainly could be.
Could be.
He's going to be 30.
I don't think he's done. I don't think he's done.
No. He'll catch on somewhere. I really.
Will.
I have no idea. But it would a DH would be obviously a good place. A left-handed hitter. Maybe the Yankees.
How much did he make?
Well, he signed that 5-year deal. When was that? I'm drawing a blank, but he signed an $85 million deal.
Okay.
And then they had an option for 2018, which would have paid him another 17.5. That's why they.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's why they had to cut him loose.
Yeah.
I think
whoever signs him is going to sign him for half of that. He'll get like $8 million. He'll be a DH somewhere. He'll be a DH somewhere.
He'll be an advantage somewhere to somebody, I think.
If the Yankees need a left-handed DH, that would be a great ballpark for him to hit in.
Yeah.
But, I have no idea what their situation is.
I wish him the best of luck. He was a real good guy.
When I went to Philadelphia to see the Dodgers in September, he hit a pinch hit home run at the game I went to. Yeah, he hit a pinch hit home run. He came off the bench and hit one out left center field. So I saw his last home run as a Dodger.
Yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't his last home run for a Dodger.
He hit one in the playoffs.
Last regular season.
Yeah, he hit one in the playoffs.
His last regular season home run.
Yes, right.
Dodger. He hit one in Chicago, didn't he?
Yes,
he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Good guy. Good guy. I wish him the best.
Yeah, so he'll be missed without a doubt.
He will be missed. No question.
The deal was in 2012. Paid him $85 million through this year. Now they had another option, like I mentioned, for that much for next year.
For 17.
That's why, they weren't going to take that deal, but they had to pay him $2.5 to buy him out.
Right.
And you know what? He was
pay me $2.5 to buy me out.
Absolutely. 2.5 to continue doing this podcast. There you go.
Right. I'll take $25. How's that?
That's right.
Ralph, you listening? Yeah, there you go.
Ralph, mail me $25, quick.
Ralph. I think it's Ralph's birthday today.
Is it?
I think so. Yep.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
There you
Ralph.
go.
Yeah, Ralph turned 71 on November 7th. That thing where it says, I never thought I'd make it to 70, that was 2016. That was November 7th, 2016. So
I didn't notice that. I'll have to shoot him a message.
Yeah. So, all right.
That pretty much now covers it for Andre,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask Ronny Rabinovitz to chime in here. Let's talk a little bit, Ronny, if you are in the mood, to talk about not only Andre Ethier, but other Dodgers who are leaving and the outlook for February in Arizona. What do you see?
Okay. I have a feeling that I made a little list of people that I don't think will be back with the Dodgers. Either one reason or another, might be traded or whatever. I think Scott Kazmir is one. I think Libator might be one. Brandon McCarthy for sure, I think, will be gone. I think Grandel's going to be gone. I think he'll be traded. Because they're going to make Barnes the starter and Farmer the backup. Yeah. Gonzalez, I'm afraid, will be gone, maybe. And Jock Peterson, I think, would be a trade thing. Yeah. And maybe Trace Thompson. That's my guess from what the existing roster is. Of course, we already lost Andre.
Right.
And I don't know you remember he's going to have Andrew Tolles coming back, and he had a heck of a year last year.
Andrew Tolles is coming back, but he's not coming back in April.
No, he's not.
Not going to make it back.
He's not coming back in April. Look for June 1st for Andrew Tolles.
I think mid-June, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to have to.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to play left field before Tolles comes back.
Right. They're going to need some pitching. I think they need I don't think Darvish will be back.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Not after what just happened.
I don't think he'll be back. Matter of fact, there's rumors he might go to the Cubs or to the Rockies.
Let me ask you this, Ron.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you heard any rumblings or not, if there's any talk about free agent signings, but wouldn't a guy with the name of J.D. Martinez look awful good in left field?
Oh, would he look great? He would look great.
He's going to Fenway.
I think he's going to the Red Sox, too. That's
no kidding.
Dombrowski used to be his boss in Detroit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Blood is thicker than water. He'll wind up at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Where is Stanton going? Stanton wants to go to the coast.
Who does?
Giancarlo Stanton wants to go to the West Coast.
Well, he's an L.A. guy.
Oh, I would love to see him in L.A. There you go.
Sure.
Great to see him in L.A. That would be wonderful.
We could use somebody to hit 60 home runs.
Yeah. I think it's going to be. I mean, the asking price is going to be huge, of course.
Well, he's got a contract. I mean, whoever trades him has to pick up that
I
contract.
think he means people going back to Miami, I think Ronnie means.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be Verdugo, Urias, Peterson. It'll be a whole shitload. In fact, the Dodgers might have to take if the Dodgers spring for that deal, they smell around, sniff around for that deal, look for Gordon to come to L.A. too, back to L.A.
Really?
T. Gordon?
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, boy, would that be.
But Miami's getting rid of everybody. They're shit-canning everybody.
Where would D. Gordon play?
Second base.
Second base, sure. They kept Forsythe. They did keep his option for next year.
Oh, they've already. Yeah, they did say that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
But he could back up JT. Forsythe can back people up.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying the Dodgers are going to pull the trigger on that deal. I'm not saying that at all. I haven't heard anything of that nature. All I heard was what Bernie Rose heard, that that he has a no trade clause in his contract, but he's an LA guy.
That's right. That's right.
So if he's going to give the okay, I don't think he's going to give the okay to St. Louis.
No, it'll be the
although the Cardinals are already going after him.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's about the Giants.
Yeah, Cardinals want him bad. Cardinals want him real bad.
Yeah. But I think he wants to go to the West Coast. Definitely. To L.A. So,
the Giants have interest in Stanton.
Right.
Big interest in Stanton.
Yeah.
But he's an LA guy, so
there's another guy.
Put Stanton in there with Turner and Seager and Bellinger and Taylor and Puig. That would be unbelievable.
It would be great.
Yeah.
And then we need another starting pitcher, for sure. And then a reliever, because I don't think Morrow's going to be back, unfortunately.
Well, he's going to be a free agent, right? They need to sign him.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's going to the Rockies.
Yeah.
Which would not be good. That would not be good.
Yeah. You think those 2 home runs that Fields gave up was like a death warrant for him? I mean, they're going to
could be.
Fields
could be.
Because he was afraid to use him again.
Yeah, I know he was.
Never saw the light of day in that series.
No.
That's why he kept putting Jansen in for 6-out saves.
I know.
you know,
Jansen
frankly,
no question about it.
I hate to go back to game 2, but when he brought Fields in the 10th, right?
Yeah. Right.
And he gave up those 2 home runs, because then they got 2 in the bottom of the 10th to tie it.
Right.
But
he never saw
the fact is, what I didn't understand right off the bat was I thought it was Fields in the 7th, Morrow in the 8th, and Jansen in the 9th. Now, you didn't know Fields was going to give up 2 home runs in the 10th.
No.
You know, and maybe in the 7th he wouldn't have done that. And then Jansen wouldn't have had a 6-out save. He wouldn't have given up that home run. They would have won that game, and it would have been over in 6. But I don't want to harp on it.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Oh,
I really don't understand why he didn't do that.
Bernie, I like your thinking.
I'm telling you.
You know, Bernie.
I'll tell you. There's a
Bernie
guy
Rose. We could go over each and every move that Robert's made, and we could have a 3.5-hour show.
Yes,
okay?
we could.
Exactly. But the facts remain. The facts remain as they are. He made the moves that he made. God only knows why. He made those moves. This is what happened. That's the end of it. Let me ask you a tough question. A really tough question. You're a Dodger fan. I know you are. Would you like to see the Dodgers in the World Series 9 of the next 10 years and they lose every time? Or would you rather see them win and then never go back in your lifetime?
Oh, man.
That's a good question.
You know, wow. Sitting right here and the pain and the heartbreak of what 9 straight losses would be, I think I'd take the 1 win.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah,
okay.
I think I would too.
So.
Yeah, I think I would too. What would you do, Peter?
Well, I tell you what. You're talking to a Brooklyn Dodger fan here.
Yeah.
The Dodgers were in a World Series so many times.
Of course.
Over and over and over and over and over, and they won one of them.
One of them.
Okay?
That's right.
And you know what? I always took pride. Now, back in the day, it was different. You had your AL fans, you had your NL fans. Now they're talking about doing away with the AL and the NL. It's going to be 4 divisions. There's going to be no AL and NL. But even if they don't do that, yes, you had to have heard that. They talked about it for weeks. But anyway, let's say they don't even do that. With Interleague, it's not AL against NL anymore. You don't have AL friends in your family or in your neighborhood and then NL fans and stuff like that.
Right.
So I guess what I'm saying to you is the game has changed a lot. And we're not going to go into how it's changed because we'll be here until February 5th. But the fact of the matter is this. When I was a little kid, and I used to go down to the park to play baseball and stuff, and I'd have my Dodger jacket and my Dodger hat, and I'd pretend I was Duke Snyder and this and that. People didn't give me too much guff because the Dodgers were in the World Series every year.
Yeah.
Okay?
6 years.
They always won.
Years.
They always won the National League pennant. And by God, if they didn't win the National League pennant, they finished second, 1 game out or 2 games out or whatever. They were always there all the time. They were known as a very, very, very strong baseball club. The Dodgers were never 6th place in my lifetime when I was young. I'm not talking back in the 20s and stuff, in the 30s.
Yeah.
The Dappiest boys. The Dodgers were never 2nd division dwellers. They were never the Philadelphia Phillies or the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Chicago Cubs. They were the Brooklyn Dodgers. They were on TV. They were in the World Series all the time. So when I asked you that question, would you rather have them in 9 straight World Series and lose every one of them, or just in 1 for the rest of your lifetime and they win it? You chose to have them in there 1 time winning it. I'm going to go a little bit fluey here now. Usually I have a couple of Manhattans before I come on the show. I only had Coca-Cola tonight. So I'm dead sober. I'm going to tell you that I really and truly believe my health in the long run would be better if the Dodgers were in 9 of the next 10 World Series but didn't win any of them. because I could always say, yeah, I know, they're going to lose. They lose the World Series all the time. Yeah. But at least we're there all the time. Your team isn't there. Your team hasn't been there since, and then I'll tell them the year.
Yeah.
My team's there all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
But to continue your line of thinking there, your train of thought, back in the day, winning the pennant was a big thing. It doesn't seem to be that way anymore.
Absolutely.
And now you got to win it all. So that's why I wasn't all that upset this time, because the 29 years went by, and we finally, and 5 of the last 10 NLCS, we lost every one of them.
Right.
And we got to the World Series. We won the pennant, and we went to Game 7.
That's right.
So, but that's why 29 years, and now after this, I'd sure like to win one.
And last year too, I mean.
But you know something, baseball. Here's another way, and this fits right into the subject we're talking about. Baseball has changed drastically in another way. No one remembers who lost the World Series like they did when we were kids. When we were kids, everybody knew the Dodgers were there every year.
Right.
Nowadays, if I tell you, the Giants won in 2012, who did they beat? I don't know. They won in 2014. Who did they beat? I don't know. Well, the Yankees won in 2009. Who did they beat? I don't know. Well, the Red Sox won in 2004, 2007, and 2013. Who did they beat? Well, I don't know. No one remembers who loses the World Series now.
Right.
When we were kids, it was plastered all over the magazines that would come out in the spring.
Because we knew
the Dodgers
who it was.
Repeat.
If we lost,
and the Dodgers repeat. They always used to ask that on the front of all of the spring baseball magazines. Can the Dodgers
repeat? Was number
and
one,
what they meant was, can they repeat winning the pennant?
Right.
That's what they meant. Can the Dodgers repeat? Everybody remembered the Dodgers were in the World Series.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody. Nowadays, holy crap.
Everybody knew that.
No one remembers.
But
no one remembers now.
Peter, too, there were only 2 teams that we're talking about.
True.
It was the Dodgers and the Yankees on all those World Series.
Plenty of them,
47, 49, 52, 53, 55, 56. Yankees and Dodgers. That was it.
63, 78, 77, 78, 81.
Yeah,
I know. And 1941, before we were born. But, they've been in 10 or 11 World Series together or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it was the Dodgers and the Yankees. There was nobody else.
Yankees won 8 and the Dodgers won 3.
Yeah.
Off of the course,
Yeah.
But in L.A., in Brooklyn, the only one won.
Right.
Exactly.
55.
But at least the Dodgers got a couple of others when they beat the White Sox and the Twins.
Yeah, 59. And the Twins, 65.
Well, they swept the Yankees in 63.
Yeah.
Of course, the A's.
They swept them. And the A's?
With Padres helping Koufax and Drysdale.
Yeah.
So that was great.
It wasn't a bad pitching staff, was it?
Phenomenal.
Oh,
yeah, that was a great pitching staff.
Yankees.
So who do you think? So Ronny Rabinovitz, who do you think the Dodgers will get?
Yes.
Will they get a big name this winter, or will they do what they usually do and just get secondary names?
Well, let me tell you something. There's a kid in Japan. His name is Shohei Ohtani. I think I can't pronounce it, but I think that's what it is. He is supposed to be spectacular. He's supposed to be like a Willie Mays. He's absolutely just tearing up the league.
Isn't he the pitcher and the hitter?
I don't think he's a pitcher. I think he's an outfielder, but I could be wrong.
I think he's a pitcher and an outfielder, and he wants to do that when he signs in America. He wants to pitch and play the outfield.
Really? Huh.
That's what I heard.
He's supposed to be unbelievable. He's supposed to be just, like really a superstar. There's a rumor.
And you know what it's going to take? And you know what it's going to take to get him?
Yeah.
It's going to take it's going to take $50 million just to sit down at the table and negotiate a contract with him.
Right.
And the Dodgers don't have $50 million left in their international signing.
No, huh? Yeah.
They don't have it.
Yeah.
They traded it away, gave it away in trades.
And he just signed up with a big agent. I forget who it was. I just heard that today too.
No kidding.
So,
uh-huh.
It's representing. It's not Boris, but it's somebody else. I don't remember what it was, who it was.
Yeah.
But
that's the kid who pitches and hits. He's
okay.
supposed to be. He's supposed to be a Kershaw and a Stanton all rolled into one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Unbelievable. Yeah.
The Dodgers are waiting for 2019 so they can sign Harper.
Yeah. Everybody's
well, I'd love to see him get
right.
You know, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if they would give up that much to get him. But boy, would he be a plus. There's a few other free agents that I don't know. There's some rumors that the Dodgers might get Mike Minor. I heard that rumor. I don't know. J.D. Martinez, I would love to see, but I think he's going to the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Arrieta would be great. I heard rumors he's going to the Brewers.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
But yeah, but there's some good free agents out there. We should go after.
The good news about Giancarlo Stanton. Here's the good news about Giancarlo Stanton. He's an LA guy.
Yep.
Miami definitely wants to get rid of him. Definitely. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely wants to get rid of him. He's an LA guy.
Right.
And he's a, how can I put this? He's a guy, he's the type of player that can make your team just a little bit better.
Right.
In every way. And the Dodgers only need to be a little bit better.
Right.
They don't need an overhaul, the Dodgers.
No.
They need to be a little bit better.
They just
That's
need
all.
another starting pitcher, maybe another reliever to replace Morrow if he's gone. And they should be in good shape. As I say, Darvish I think is gone. Now Utley I think is going to be gone.
Yeah.
I understand Granderson wants to play next year.
Yeah, but not in L.A.
Not in L.A., but he still wants to go another year. Ethier we lost already, and Gonzalez I think is not going to be there next year either. So I don't know. We'll have to see. And,
well, I think
a few there
still
that
have
to trade.
Let me ask you, Ron. Don't they still have another year of Kazmier's contract?
Yeah, they do.
Maybe. Yeah.
And Gonzalez, doesn't he have another year?
I think he has another year too.
They got to pay them.
Yeah.
And maybe even McCarthy has one more year. And frankly, if Gonzo's healthy, I'm all for it. But
the only money that's coming off the books is Crawford.
Crawford.
Crawford's money is gone too, right?
Crawford's money
next
is
year
gone.
There's another big one. I forget who. Was it Kemp?
But Kazmier and McCarthy, I don't want to see them on this team next year.
I don't want to see them again.
No.
I don't either. So, and I don't know if they'd be any trade bait.
No. Who wants them?
Yeah.
Who wants them?
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything for them.
No.
And the money they gave those guys was ridiculous. Absolutely.
Would you trade Puig? Would you trade Puig for?
I'm going to let Bernie Rose answer that one.
Puig for who?
In a trade for Stanton.
Ooh. Wow.
It's going to take more than Puig to get Stanton.
I know.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Mattingly does not get along with Puig.
No.
Yeah,
they're not going to want Puig. They're not going to want Puig.
Mattingly could be, couldn't he become a Yankee manager?
I'm not sure Jeter wants to keep Mattingly, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a feeling he's going to end up as the Yankee manager.
Okay. If Mattingly stays in Miami, he wants no part of Puig.
Right. Exactly.
Wants no part of Yasiel Puig.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I make that deal, Peter. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd love to have Stanton.
Yeah.
But Puig is certainly better on the defensive side. But But I mean, Stan's all right.
Puig is a Cuban. Puig is Cuban. He'll be a big star in Miami.
In Miami.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, here's the difference, Bernie. Bernie, even though it's like night and day on defense between Stanton and Puig's going to drive in 75 runs.
Right.
Stanton's going to drive in 150.
Right. Yeah. No question.
That's right.
You got to make the deal if you don't mind the contract. You're right. You're 100% right.
So you would trade Puig and maybe Peterson and maybe a
got to throw somebody else in there too.
Yeah, a couple.
Well, if they're going to get if they're going to dump the second baseman, then we give them Forsythe too. Yeah. Forsythe's got to go to Miami.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if they're dumping everybody, I mean, I don't know what they're paying, for.
They're dumping Osuna. They're dumping everybody they have.
Yeah.
I don't know why Jeter bought the team, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
They're going to lose 100 catchers.
I think he wants to start a whole new thing. I mean,
they got a nice little catcher down there. Who, if the Dodgers got him and Stanton, get your World Series tickets now.
No, but here, wait a minute, Bernie. Wait a minute, Bernie. Stop right there, just for a second. I'm not a general manager, but I'll tell you this: the reason why Miami would be moving all of these stars that they have is simply for the money.
Right?
Save money. They want guys. They want a whole team making $535,000.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what.
So if they have a young stud catcher, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere, right?
He's not going anywhere.
I don't know.
The only guys they're going to get rid of are guys that are making 20, 25, 26, 27 million a year, and that's Stanton and the second baseman, D. Gordon and Osuna.
Right.
They're getting rid of all their big contracts. They're not getting rid of any of their young guys who are making less than $1 million a year.
Right.
The whole idea is to save money. The whole idea for them is to get rid of those contracts.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It could be interesting. It'll be an interesting winter with a lot of rumors flying around, and maybe nothing will happen, and maybe something will happen. But,
well, I'm sure something will happen, but I get the gist of your point, and that is maybe something gigantic will happen, or just average things will happen.
That's right.
No one's staying pat, especially the Dodgers.
No.
It's already begun, as we see, with Ethier being jettisoned. It's going to continue. There's going to be different guys coming, different guys going. Right. And they're basically going to keep like 12 guys, and they're going to get rid of 13 others. We're going to have new guys next spring. That's the way it is. That's baseball.
That's baseball. Yeah. Yeah, Urias should be back, and that Buehler should be back.
Mm-hmm.
Although he wasn't so great when he was up there, Buehler. But who knows? It's. And they got another, I think, a rookie pitcher that's supposed to be pretty good, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't either. I just read about him on ESPN.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name either, but they're very highly touted guy. Bernie, what do you know about Verdugo, this kid Verdugo that LA has?
Alex Verdugo.
Well, he was putting up great numbers down on a farm, but he didn't show much in September.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
Yeah. But that's not always,
No.
It's not really always
the
telltale sign.
So
he could be a trade bait for the Miami,
He probably is. See, guys like that, guys like Verdugo and Buehler and the guy we can't think of his name, the other stud pitcher that's like 19 or 20, those are the guys that Miami want. They want guys that are controllable, that are making minimum salary, and they want to get rid of all the guys that are making $15 million a year and above.
Right.
And that's where the chairman of the board, what's his name, Walter?
Yeah.
Of the Dodgers. That's where he comes in. That's where he comes in. He's got to sit down with Andrew Freeman and the general manager, all those guys. He's got to sit down and say, look, I know what our philosophy was, homegrown, young, our guys from our bloodstream coming up from our minor leagues and stuff, but we have a chance to get D. Gordon and Giancarlo Stanton, and we have to give up like 4 or 5 of those guys. Where do you want to go with this? And I'm going to tell you right now. The general manager and his assistant, they're from Tampa Bay, and so is Friedman. Right. They're not going to go. They're not going to lean toward a Dombrowski type of deal where he wants to get J.D. Martinez and Giancarlo Stanton. He wants names, big names, making a lot of money, going to hit a lot of home runs, driving a lot of runs. They want the young kids. They want Dodger. They want Dodger youth. Right. And there's going to be a lot of late night meetings out in L.A. during the winter over philosophy on how to proceed.
Everybody wanted Seager and Bellinger and Urias the last couple of 3 years, and they would not trade those guys. That's what they're going to point to. That's what they're going to point to. Bernie, that's what they're going to point to when they have the meetings. They're going to say, you want D. Gordon and Stanton, but they want Verdugo, Buehler, and name a few other guys. Yeah. Suppose we had given them Seager and Bellinger, and where would we be without those guys? Exactly.
And then the chairman of the board, Walter, is going to scratch his head and say, you know what? Maybe I should just go out on my yacht and drink Heineken and let you guys take care of this, because you know more than I do about this, and that would be the smart thing to do. So I wouldn't count my Stantons over the winter. I wouldn't count my Giancarlo Stantons. I really would not.
No.
It would be nice. I don't know.
I got it mixed up on the Marlins first baseman and catcher. But their catcher's only 26. He had 532 at-bats. He had 17 homers and 65 RBIs and hit 278. And that's what the Dodgers need behind that plate.
What's his name?
Real Muto. JT Real Muto.
Yeah.
He's 6'1", 210.
REAL.
26.
Real.
Right.
Well, they could use Grandal on a trade bait, too. Grandal. I think they could use Grandal and Jock Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why anybody would want Grandal. I don't know why. He leads the league in pass balls. He can't frame. He strikes out a lot. I don't know why anybody would want him.
I'd be shocked.
I really don't.
With the Dodgers next year. I would.
Well, you know what? I'd be shocked if they got anything for him. Let's put it like that.
That's true too.
Well, I mean,
they'll probably move him.
They could be.
They're not getting anything back for him. They're not getting anything back for him.
I couldn't wait for them to start him all season, and they finally did against Arizona and the Cubs. He did great, but I don't know what happened in the World Series. He went the same way everybody else went.
Yeah, they all went
south.
Really
cold.
They all went south.
Yeah.
They all went south.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, listen, we're running out of time.
All right. Yeah.
I want to thank both of you. My partner, of course, Ronny Rabinovitz, and one of our favorite guests of all time, Bernie Rose. Thank you very much for putting up with my loud mouth. And we had a good discussion. We talked Dodgers. We talked Brooklyn. We talked Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens. We have a whole bunch of shows to do before we see another pitch on TV. So,
I think you're right.
You know what I mean? Keep your thinking caps on. If you come up with anything, shoot me a message saying, "Hey, I know what we can cover. Let's talk about so and so." And don't be shy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, Peter, Ron, it's a pleasure. Once again, and I look forward to doing it again with you guys.
Okay, we'd love to have you back.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Good night.
Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye.